I never thought my life could be turned upside down by a single letter. It arrived on a gray Thursday morning, the kind where the world feels muted and ordinary. I was sipping my coffee, scrolling through emails, when I noticed one with a subject line that made my stomach drop. Important family information. It was from a law firm. I almost deleted it, thinking it was spam. But something, instinct, curiosity, maybe a quiet sense of foreboding made me click. Inside, it said that my late father had another child, a sibling I had never known existed. The letter was formal, almost clinical, but the words struck me like a thunderclap. I read and reread them, half expecting to wake up from some horrible dream. A sister, a real living person, who shared my blood, my father's laugh, and now, by extension, part of my life. The letter included minimal information, a name, a city, and a phone number. My hands trembled as I typed her name into search engines, social media, anything I could find. Each result felt unreal. Photos of a woman who looked like me, with the same dark hair and hazel eyes. I called the number, rehearsing what I would say 1,000 times in my head. My voice shook when she answered. "Hello?" she said. I think we might be related," I blurted. The silence on the other end stretched painfully. Then she whispered, almost like she'd been waiting for me to call, "I think I've been waiting for this my whole life." We agreed to meet in a quiet cafe on the outskirts of her city. I drove there feeling like a stranger in my own life, my mind racing with questions. When she walked in, my breath caught. There she was, taller than I expected, with a nervous smile and the same eyes that mirrored my own. We sat across from each other, talking cautiously at first, then spilling pieces of our lives like we were trying to fill a lifetime. In a single afternoon, there was laughter, awkward silences, and the subtle, growing recognition that we were connected in ways I hadn't imagined. That night, I lay awake thinking about what I had done. Was I intruding on her life? What if we didn't click outside of this initial curiosity? What if my family rejected her? The doubts were suffocating, and yet underneath there was a pulse of excitement I hadn't felt in years. A hope that maybe my family could be bigger than I had known. We started texting daily, sharing memes, memories, and little confessions. It was strange but exhilarating to know someone who got certain things about me instinctively. The way I procrastinate, my taste in music, my terrible sense of direction. Every message felt like a thread stitching a new part of my life into existence. I decided to tell my mother. Her face went pale as I spoke, her hands trembling slightly. "Why now?" she asked. Why would he keep this a secret? My brother wasn't any better. He accused me of wanting attention, of complicating things unnecessarily. I tried to explain that this wasn't a choice. It was reality. But the arguments tore at me, and for the first time, I felt the weight of my father's absence, and his secrets pressing down on all of us. Weeks passed. Tensions simmered, but didn't boil over. My new sister and I met again, this time in a park, feeding ducks and sharing childhood stories. I realized that the world could hold both pain and joy simultaneously, that maybe families weren't perfect, but they were made of persistence, curiosity, and sometimes second chances. She invited me to her home, and I met the friends, the routines, the quirks that shaped her. It felt strange to enter someone else's world, to step into a life I had been a stranger to for decades. But I was learning who she was, beyond the connection to our father, and I liked her. Independently of our shared blood. We started carving out a rhythm, weekly calls, monthly visits, little shared rituals, coffee dates, book recommendations, holiday cards. There were stumbles, disagreements, and moments of awkwardness, but the relationship grew. It felt like gardening, planting seeds, watering them, and waiting with patience for them to bloom. One evening, my mother and I sat down quietly. We spoke about the father I thought I knew, about the secrets, the regrets, and the love that had been complicated and messy. For the first time, I felt I could understand, not excuse, but understand, the choices that had shaped our fractured family. My brother eventually softened, watching me laugh with my sister, seeing her kindness and warmth. He didn't fully embrace it, but he stopped resisting. It was progress. Slowly, our family dynamic shifted, making room for someone who had always been part of us, even in absence. We celebrated birthdays, holidays, and anniversaries together. The moments felt tender, sometimes surreal. There were tears, stories, and unexpected discoveries. I realized that family isn't just the people you grew up with. It's the people who show up, who care, and who are willing to navigate complicated emotions with you. I felt myself changing. I was more patient, more empathetic, more willing to embrace uncertainty. Life had shown me that truth, no matter how shocking, could open doors to growth. I had a newfound resilience, a deeper sense of gratitude, and a curiosity about the threads that tie people together. Now, when I look at my life, I see it as a mosaic, each piece, even the hidden or painful ones, contributing to the whole. I understand my father more, not perfectly, but enough to acknowledge the complexity of human choices. I see my mother and brother in a new light, and I see my sister as a companion, not a shadow of the past. I never expected to gain a sister in my 30s, nor to confront so many emotions about a family I thought I understood, but now I do. Family isn't perfect. It isn't static. It is messy, surprising, and sometimes hidden in plain sight. I've learned to embrace it in all its forms, to accept the past, and to move forward with hope. And when I think about the future, I see open doors, laughter yet to be shared, and a bond that once discovered will never fade.